I'm tired of living in a society or in a world where men are just falling down the ladder. They keep going down, down, down. Why? We can be better. We can lift ourselves up. I want men to be successful. I want men to be powerful, strong, authority figures that they're supposed to be in the world. So I've been doing some research. I've been trying to figure out how I can actually get myself there and how I can help my viewers get there as well. And I've came up with 6 habits that I think are the best and the most important for you to actually get to that point. So let's start off with number 1. Number 1 is not caring about what others think of you. There's way too many people on planet Earth for us to care about every single human being more than 5 or 10 minutes, right? So someone's going to think about you. Someone's going to think you're weird. Someone's going to make fun of you, but it's only going to be for a short amount of time. And then after that, they're going to be like, okay, let me continue with my life. They mainly care about themselves. So for you to worry about what someone else is thinking about you, it doesn't make sense, because they're probably only going to think about you for like 5 to 10 minutes. After that, they're just going to continue to live their life the way they normally do. Let's say you posted something on Instagram. You posted like an Instagram story and you're like, I wonder if people are going to make fun of me because I posted this. Now think in your own perspective. If someone else posted something funny on Instagram or something weird on Instagram, you're probably going to think about it maybe for like a second or two and be like, that's kind of weird. And then you're just going to move on with your day because you could care less, because you don't really care about that person. The top 1% of men, they understand that, okay, what someone else thinks about me is not going to affect me. It doesn't matter, because in the long run, no one really cares about me anyway. No one is going to sit there and actually spend time thinking about my mistakes or making fun of me. When they go home at night, they're going to be thinking about themselves. The top 1% of men understand this. They also understand that there's a spotlight effect, that you might think that they're thinking of you and that everybody's eyes are on you, but the reality is no one's really like thinking of you like that. So the spotlight effect is real. Even when you're starting a YouTube channel, I remember a year ago, I wanted to start this YouTube channel and I was like, what are people going to think of me? And now I'm just like, I've came to the understanding that, okay, like people don't really care. Like, it's so funny. It's crazy because people don't really care. And what I thought people were going to say, the opposite ended up happening. I thought people were going to make fun of me. I thought people were going to say bad things, call me a loser, which, I mean, I don't care if people were to say that now. And there might be like a small percentage of my viewers who actually like think that or feel that way about me. But majority of people actually support me. People are on my side. They're like, hey, Mudley, you're doing a really good job. Keep it up. Like, I'm proud of you. This is actually really good. This is going to make you successful one day. And I'm just like, what? I did not expect that. I thought people were going to make fun of me. I thought all eyes were on me. The top 1% of men understand the spotlight effect is real. All eyes are not on them. No one's actually looking at them. You might think they are, and that's like all in your head. But the top 1% of men do not care about what others think about them. They understand that life is too short. They cannot control what someone else thinks about them. All they can control is what they have control over. So they do that. They do their best. They continue to live their lives. They continue to improve and become better people. And the last thing they could care about is what your opinions are about me. It doesn't matter. Number 2 is emotional control. So there's a big myth around emotional control. When people say that men or even women should control their emotions, that you might think that they're trying to say that you can't have any emotions at all, that you're not allowed to feel emotions. That's not true. Emotional control really means is that your decisions are not driven by emotions or purely based off emotions. It's okay to feel them. It's okay to feel all the feelings. Even if, like, I personally feel like I feel a wave of emotions. Sometimes I feel more emotions than other people. I honestly do. But the people closest to me, they don't even know it. They don't even like realize. They can't even see it because it's all happening inside. And not to toot my own horn, or not saying that I'm like the top 1% of men, majority of my decisions are not influenced by my emotions. And a way for you to figure out if you have great emotional control is if you decide to do something purely based off emotion. Any decision I make in life, emotion is like 20% of the factor. Everything else is logic, reasoning, the benefits, right? The pros and cons. That's where the decision comes from. If I start a business, I'm not going to start it because I feel like starting a business. I don't go to the gym because I feel like going to the gym. I feel happy, so I'm going to the gym. And I don't hurt anyone because I feel like hurting someone or because I feel sad. A lot of people think that their emotions are them. No, Not necessarily. You can feel emotions. You can feel a wave of emotions. But as long as you control them, as long as you keep them in check, as long as you don't let them overtake you, then you have emotional control. So the top 1% of men, they understand that, okay, each decision I make, 20% of the factors contributing to that decision is emotion. Everything else has nothing to do with emotion. And it's a very difficult thing for people to understand, because I would say most humans decide things based off emotion. But I don't necessarily agree with that. Someone could come and say, well, the top 1% of men, they date, they marry, right? Do they do this based off logic and reasoning, or is it only emotion? Well, if you're smart and you're intellectual and you're trying to find a wife, you wouldn't decide on this woman based off purely emotion. Yes, you feel emotions, but you don't let your emotions overtake the decision. You look at the reasoning, you look at the logic, you think if this person is good for you, then yes, I'll accept her and I'll make her my wife. So even in situations where emotions matter a lot, like in relationships and intimacy, there's still a lot of logic and reasoning, and you have to outweigh the pros and cons. Those things matter. The top 1% of men, they understand that I cannot make decisions based off my emotions. I was working a sales job one time, and this one person, he was my leader. They made him my leader out of nowhere, and there was nothing wrong with the person himself. I loved him. I still do. He's a really good friend of mine. But I still remember that was his job, trying to help me make sales. There were some days where he was in such a good mood that he would help me sell, and he would do amazing. And then there was other days where I actually needed his help, and he just felt down. And there's some days where people feel that way, right? It's okay. Like I've been there. But this person was not helping me. He didn't help me because he just didn't feel like helping me. So when I went up to him to ask him how to close a sale, he would just be like, I don't care. I mean, it is what it is. He would just be down. He would just be sad, wouldn't talk to anyone. And I understand. Like, I'm not judging him. I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm just saying that, like, most men are leaders. As a man, you have to be a leader. You have to lead. You have to help lead your family. You have to help lead the people who are under you, the people who are under your umbrella. As a leader, you cannot let emotions take over your whole body and your whole mind. You can't let emotions do that. Talking about men, I can't work with a man who just can't control his emotions, because men are powerful. You're a powerful person. You're supposed to be a leader. You're supposed to be a person of power. Men are supposed to work their ways up into positions of authority. Once you get there, you can't be this person who just lacks emotional control and just does whatever he wants purely based off emotions, because you'll end up doing a lot of bad things. Each decision you make in life should be based off reasoning, thought, logic. You know, you've thought about this, you've thought about the pros and cons. You should be doing something that's good for you and that's beneficial for you and your family, not just because you feel like it. I personally think number 3 is very difficult for people to accept, and that is taking responsibility of yourself. Now, what this means is that anytime you make a decision or anytime you've done something, whether it's wrong, good, or bad, you need to take responsibility for it. A real man takes responsibility for all the bad things he's done in life. They accept it, they move on, and they try to become better. And when I say taking responsibility, I don't just mean your actions or your words. Those are important as well. A man should take responsibility for everything he says and everything he does, all the bad things and the good things. But this also means your own life. That's why I say it's very difficult for men to accept this, especially young men, because we don't want to accept that our lives are the way they are because of us. There are certain factors that you can't control. I've said this in my previous videos, right? There's certain factors that you can control and there's certain factors that you can't. Fine. But when I say taking responsibility of your life, that means taking responsibility of the factors that you can control. There are certain things that you can do to make your life better. If you're not rich or wealthy or successful, there's nobody else to blame other than you. You can't blame your parents. You can't blame your brothers, your siblings, your friends. You can't blame the society. You can't blame your race or all these other things that are stopping you from becoming what you want to be. Now, in certain cases, that might be true. There actually might be barriers put in place for you to succeed. Sure. But at the end of the day, not taking responsibility and doing the opposite is not going to help you get anywhere. So the top 1% of men understand that, okay, this is my life. This is where I am. I'm 25. By the time I'm 30, I want to become a millionaire. How will I get there? Well, it's not going to be because someone else didn't give me what I need. If there's something that I need to succeed, I have to take it upon myself and I have to go get it. No one else is going to give it to me. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. And the sooner you accept this, the sooner you'll be able to become that top 1% of men. The sooner you'll be able to become the best version of yourself. A man is not only responsible for his words, his actions, and the people, like the people under his umbrella, like family, friends, stuff like that, but also his own life. Yes, it's one thing to take responsibility for your family. Sure, I feel like that's basic. And nowadays, most men aren't even doing that. So if you're doing that, applaud to you. But that's just one part of taking responsibility. Yes, take responsibility of your actions, of the people that you take care of. Sure, but what about your own self? What about your own life? Have you taken a look at where you are in life? Why are you poor? If you're poor, it's because of you. It's because you didn't do what it takes to get there. And it's just, that's just the truth. Like, the sooner you accept that, the sooner you'll be able to get to where you want to get. Because when it comes to achieving a goal or becoming the top 1% of men or becoming the best version of yourself, you have to understand what's in my way. And if you yourself are in your way, then that's a big factor. It's a big issue. If you yourself are in your way, that's a big issue. And what you have to do is you have to take responsibility of yourself, of your own life. My last video was how do you reprogram your mind for success. In that video, I talked about the victim mindset that a lot of people have, that they think that everyone's against them. You know, that there's forces out there against them, that the world's against them, that the system was designed and created in a way to make them poor, to make them the way they are. So their life is not the way it is because of themselves. It's because of someone else. So poor me, I'm a victim. That's what they like to think. Well, I understand, like, certain things might actually be against you, but your mindset should not be that I am not going to take responsibility. Your mindset should be that I will do whatever it takes to make myself better, to get myself out of this situation, because I take responsibility for my own life. A lot of people have these stories where this breakout rapper who came out of the hood, right, or this basketball player who came out of the hood. Those people have a lot of respect from the audience or the crowd, from millions, because they actually took it upon themselves to get themselves out. They could have easily said, any person like LeBron James could have easily said, there's no way I'm going to make it out this hood. There's no way I'm going to make it out of here. Any rapper, any basketball player could have easily said, yo, you know what? There's no way I'm going to make it out of here. It's my society. It's the circumstances I was born under. I have no other choice other than to just conform and do what everyone else is telling me to do, join gangs, kill people, do all these things, right? But they took it upon themselves to make themselves better and to get their family out of this place. So not only did they take responsibility for their family and for their words and their actions, but they also took responsibility for their own lives. You need to start taking responsibility of your own life. The top 1% of men take responsibility for their own life. They know that nobody else is going to help them. They have to help themselves. There's nothing wrong with getting help from someone else if it's offered to you, but actually depending on it, I don't know if that's a good idea. Number 4, learning continuously. Learning continuously has to do with learning. So yes, it's good to learn. Yes, the top 1% of men understand the value and the importance of knowledge. That knowledge is very powerful. If you know certain things, you're able to do certain things. If I didn't know how to sell to people, I couldn't make money at my job. If I didn't know how to read or write, I wouldn't be able to be where I am. That's one part of it. The other part of it is knowing that, yes, there's value in knowledge, and learning is important, but learning never stops. So you could be a person who's learning and who's been learning up until college. You graduate college, and then all of a sudden you just stop trying to improve your life. You stop trying to become better. You stop trying to improve your life. You stop learning. You stop asking questions. You don't have that curious mind anymore. All you care about is, okay, I learned what I needed to learn. Now it's time to apply it. And I'm not going to learn anything new because my system and the way that I learned it is the best system. That is a blueprint for failure. I know many people who refuse to learn. They refuse to ask questions. When I talk to them, or when someone else brings up good ideas or a different perspective of looking at something, they're just like, okay, cool, but my way works. My way works. It's the best way. I'm not going to change that up. I'm not going to learn anything new. I've been in sales for like 7 years now, and even till this day, I see other people doing something different, and I try to implement that in my approach. I applaud people who actually ask questions. I know someone who I worked with who would ask questions. He was at a higher level than I am, but he would still ask me questions. He will still try to understand where I'm coming from, why I think a certain way, because maybe he can learn from it. He already has the success. He's already a very successful person, but he still wants to learn and grow and become better. He's probably the top 1% of men because he understands the value that knowledge provides and the power that knowledge has. But not only that, that you should continuously learn. A good example is someone who's like coding. People in the tech industry, they understand that I can't just learn one language or learn a couple frameworks. I mean, I don't know much about coding, but you know what I'm saying. You can't just learn a couple things and then that's it. You just stop learning and you just implement what you learn, and then that's it. You just stop learning. You do that for the rest of your life. It's not going to work because the new people who are coming, they know much more than you. And tech changes all the time. There's new technology coming out all the time. For them to not improve, it would ruin them. Why would I hire you if I can hire someone else who's continuously learning, who every day gets better? Like that's such a good investment for me. If I'm a business person, if I'm thinking in a business perspective and I'm hiring someone, that's such a good investment for me. A person who continuously gets better. He has like a software update. He just keeps getting a software update and keeps getting better. Versus you who just don't want to learn. You just keep things the way they are. That's going to set you up for failure. You need to learn continuously. The top 1% of men understand this principle. They understand that knowledge is powerful. There is value in knowledge. There is value in learning. There is value in education. Yes, but they also continue to do that. They don't just stop. If you've hit the age of 30 and you became this person that you want to become, why are you stopping? Why did you stop learning? A human being should never stop learning. You should keep learning till the day you die. You should learn new things because once you actually understand the concept of knowledge, the more you know, the less you know. Because there's so much out there to know, you can never know enough. So for you to say, I'm done learning, I've had enough, doesn't make sense. You have to continuously strive to become better. You have to continuously work towards becoming a better person and striving to become better and improving yourself and your craft. And to do that, you have to learn. You have to learn continuously. You have to keep learning. Life is a journey of just learning, basically. In some cases, you could just think that life is just learning. And the top 1% of men understand this. They understand that I can have an advantage over other people because I know things. I know certain things that they don't. But also, if I keep this up, where will it take me? Because knowledge is everything. There's a reason why religions primarily have a book. I'm Muslim. Islam has a book, the Quran. There's books. Why? Because knowledge is important. There's value in knowledge, but you're also supposed to continue learning and continuing to become better. Number 5 is maintaining discipline. So you can build discipline. You can have discipline for a short amount of time, but what you do after that is the most important. You need to maintain it. Just like you maintain your weight, just like you maintain the same amount of money that's coming into your bank account, just like you maintain anything, you need to maintain discipline. In one of my videos, I talked about how to create a better life for yourself in 6 months. And basically in this video, I'm telling you how to build discipline for 6 months, because 6 months is just a starting point, right? So let's say you were to follow this principle, and for 6 months, you build discipline. You go to the gym like you planned, right? You work every day like you planned. You stay consistent. You improve. You get better, right? This is you building discipline. Now that you've done it for 6 months, you've built a habit. I mean, technically a habit only takes like 30 days probably, but I just say 6 months because that's a strong habit now, right? So now you have a strong, disciplined routine. You have a strong, disciplined habit. Now what you need to do is maintain that. Maintaining doesn't mean that you stay disciplined for 2 weeks and then just stop for the 3rd week and then you continue it for the 4th week. That's not going to work. You have to continue the same level of discipline. If you've been working at a higher level of discipline, if you've been more disciplined than you've been in the past, continue that, build a habit of it, do it for 6 months, and then after that, maintain it. To actually see your ideas and your execution into fruition, like to actually see the result and for it to manifest, is going to take longer than just 6 months. It's going to take maybe 3 years, maybe even 5 years. So for that amount of time, you have to maintain the discipline. It's like the gym. You go to the gym for 6 months, you're going to see tons of results. Sure, you've built the habit, you've built the routine of staying disciplined and going to the gym. But now, to actually see a whole body transformation, it's going to take probably 2 years, maybe 3 years. So you have to maintain the same amount of discipline. Just like you maintain your weight, right? If you've ever tried to maintain your weight, you don't increase your weight and you don't lower your weight. It stays the same. Now, in terms of discipline, you can increase it, but if you've already built a habit and you've already found something that works for you, then just keep doing the same thing. Maintain it. Don't try to change it. Don't try to switch anything up. Maintaining discipline is a very important thing to the top 1% of men, because they know that if I slip up just once or twice, then I start this whole new pathway of just failure and failure. I just keep failing. First, you build the habit. In my opinion, the habit doesn't build itself for 6 months. So once 6 months goes by, then you actually maintain, then you have actually built the habit. Now you built the habit, then you maintain it, and you continuously keep doing this. You continuously do the same thing. Every day you wake up at the same day. Every day you go to the gym at the same time. You work on the same things. You continuously do that and maintain it. You don't change it up. Discipline is a very important factor for anyone to become successful in anything. The top 1% of men understand that it's not only important to have discipline, but to maintain it. They understand that they won't be able to accomplish what they want to accomplish for the next 3 to maybe 5 years. So to actually make that happen, they have to be disciplined and maintain that discipline for that amount of time. And now we get to number 6. I wasn't even planning on putting this in here. I feel like this can raise a lot of controversy because people have issues with this, but it's taking risks. And obviously I mean calculated risks. I don't mean, just dumb, stupid risks. And when I say risk, I don't mean a risk like a financial risk. I'm not saying to spend 100,000 on a crypto coin or 100,000 on a new business or whatever. And in some cases, I mean, that's actually a good risk to take depending on, your finances and how you've worked things out, right? But I mean an actual, a life risk. Let's say you're trying to become a rapper or a film star. If you haven't moved to Hollywood yet, what are you doing? If you haven't moved to LA, why haven't you done it yet? You're scared. You're scared to take that risk. Take the risk. What do you have to lose? Sometimes the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. You've seen success stories of film stars and music stars who have moved to LA, and that made them successful. It brought them closer to actually becoming successful. If you know that there's something you can do to get you closer to your success, to your goals, and it's a big risk and you're worried, will it work out? Will it might not? Take the risk. Weigh out your pros and cons. Take a calculated risk. Have a backup plan, but take the risk. If you're worried about moving to another city because you got a new job and it's a really good job and it's a job you've always wanted, but you're going to be alone, you're going to be sad, it's going to be tough, try it out. You never know. You might actually like it. Take the risk. Start the business. What happens is when you take such a big risk, you tell yourself, I have nothing to lose, or whatever I do have to lose, I'm willing to lose it for this specific thing. You tell yourself that I am so invested into achieving this goal that I will give up everything. That changes your mindset. That gives you a new way of looking at your goal. Your mind and your body, they're like, okay, damn, you really about this. You really want this. I'm not worried about losing. What I'm worried about is not getting to where I want to get to. I could care less about losing what I have right now because I can get it back later. But I can't get that. That's a once in a lifetime opportunity. I can't become that person. I have to work hard to become that person. I have to give up a lot of things to actually become that person. So sometimes taking the big risk is good. It can pay off. There's many times where I've taken big risks, mainly financially, but just in general, I've taken big risks and they paid off. Sometimes they haven't. Sometimes I've taken an L. People made fun of me. It is what it is. A lot of men don't understand this concept. The top 1% of men, they know that sometimes to get to where you want to get to, you have to take big risks. They have to be calculated, right? Don't make dumb decisions. Don't make dumb risks. Have a backup plan. Make sure everything's planned safely and in the right way, but take the risk. You have to lose something in order to gain something, and you have to be willing to lose it all. You ever heard of this quote when they're like, the people who have nothing to lose are like the most powerful, or the people that you should be scared of the most, because they have nothing to lose. They're willing to take the biggest risks. They don't care. And I'm not saying that you yourself have nothing to lose. I'm not saying that the top 1% of men have nothing to lose. They have a lot to lose, but they're willing to lose all of that in order to gain what they truly want to gain, which is success in whatever field or whatever success means to them. Because success has a different meaning to everyone, right? But I'm willing to give up all of that to gain what I need to gain. There's no guarantee that you make a decision and it's going to work out in your favor. There's no guarantee it's not going to work out in your favor either. Sometimes trying is all you can do. That's like all you have power over is trying and trying to improve. And you took a risk because you tried to improve. You wanted to become better. And there's nothing wrong with that. I will only respect you more. People will only respect you more. And the top 1% of men know that sometimes you have to risk things and risk certain things and be willing to lose certain things in order to gain what they really want to gain. Remember these 6 habits, these 6 rules. They're not necessarily all habits, but they're mainly rules and principles that you can apply into your life. Apply them into your life. Be about the action. Don't just watch a video and just, that's it. Like, be about the action. And I know I'm not the only person who's made videos like this, so learn from me, learn from other people who have made videos like this, and try to actually implement it. Be about the action. Improve yourself. Improve your life. I want to know if you've actually made yourself better. I want to know in the comments. I want you to tell me, hey, Mudney, I've improved. I've gotten better. Whatever goal you're trying to achieve, tell me that, man, I got closer to it. Whether it's because of what I said or because whatever someone else said, I'm just happy that you're moving up. And one last thing, if you're trying to become the top 1% of men, you got to understand that they have a different mindset. They have a different programming done in their mind. And to learn more about that, I recently posted a video, Reprogramming Your Mind for Success. And I go over exactly how this can be done. So if you're interested in that, click the video and learn more.